Okay. So today topic is the first class of your Apex development. Today is the first class of Apex development, or I can say OOPS concept. OOPS concept. So before we jump onto the Apex development, what are the prerequisites that is needed for the developer? Okay. Prerequisites are you need to aware of admin. You need to aware of our admin. When I say admin, creating a object, creating a field, or field creation formula field, or validation rules, workflows, you should be aware of these prerequisites. At least you need to have the structure idea in the admin. If you are not aware of this, if you are not aware of the Salesforce admin, I would suggest first complete the admin classes, then start the development. Because for development, you need to have a the schema builder structure. What is the object? What is the field? Where the fields are there? What is the custom object? What is the surrounded object? And how can we link each other? And what are the fields are available in the object? At least you need to have this concept idea, right? Then only we can write the program. So that is very important to go through the admin. Okay. So now let's go ahead and start the Apex. I hope everybody is aware of the admin in this. Whoever is there in the class, everybody is aware about the admin part.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start the Apex. Okay. What is the Apex? Please note down. What is the Apex? Apex is strongly typed, object-oriented. Apex is strongly typed, object-oriented, and case insensitive. Apex is strongly typed, object-oriented, and case insensitive programming language. Case insensitive programming language. Okay. Enabling the developers to add the business logic. So what is the Apex? Apex is strongly typed, object-oriented, and case-insensitive programming language. What it will do? It will enable the developer to add the business logic to Salesforce system is called as a Apex programming. I hope everybody has written. Okay, so why we need a Apex? For example, so for whatever we have done the UI, displaying the fields or buttons, all of them we have implemented using the Visual Force page. Let's take an example of calculate. Okay, so yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever the last class, we have implemented a button, calculate. Whenever we click on a calculate, it should take the first number, second number, it should calculate based on the logic, right? So when I click on that button, what is the logic that needs to be implemented? We need to implement the business logic. In order to implement the business logic, where we have to write the code, we have to write the code in Apex. We have to write the code in Apex, right? Let's assume here I have a delete button. So whenever I click on delete button, assume that that is a custom, okay? Whenever I click on a delete button, it should go to the Apex execute the business logic on the delete. What should happen? It should cross verify the ID. If it is active, go ahead and delete it. So this logic we have to write it at the back end, right? So same with the map, Google Map. So whenever your Google Map executes it, you need a code to get the address. You need a code to get the address from business logic to the Visual Force page. Or you have something logic like code executes when related records is modified. If you have a logic you wanted to execute based on the modification that done in the related list, we want to execute the code. So in those scenarios, we use the Apex, right? Apex is object oriented. Okay. Now, the question is, what is programming language? What is programming language? What is programming language? Programming language is nothing but, you all know, right? C, C++, Java, these all are called as a programming language. But Apex, when it comes to the Apex, what type of programming language it is?
Case-sensitive.
Case-insensitive programming language, or we can say that it is a OOPS type. It is a OOPS type. OOPS type of programming language. What is the OOPS type? Is nothing but object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language. Like any other program. If you have worked before, Java is OOPS concept, right? And .NET is object-oriented programming language. And C++ is object-oriented programming language. Like others, Apex is also object-oriented programming language. What is the language? Language is used for adding the business logic to the Salesforce system. Language means I'm adding some logic. I'm adding some logic to the whatever the program that I'm using there. Right? So Apex is object-oriented programming language. Now coming to why Apex. Why Apex? So why Apex? It is a integrated. Salesforce offers Apex as a integrated. You do not need to install. You do not need to install the Apex at all. You do not need to install the Apex at all. It comes along with the integrated platform. The whole ID environment is integrated. Integrated. That means you need not to install anything. No installation. It comes along with the ID environment, which is automatically integrated. And next one is easy to use. Easy to use. If you are exposed to any other programming language in the past, if you have worked on C, C++, Java, Python, same thing here. Same thing here. Same logic you will implement. But what is the difference? Difference is less coding. Less coding and easy to use the program. And Apex is mostly focused on data. Apex is mostly focused on data. All the data, how to manipulate the data, how to process the data, how to play with the data, everything will be, Apex will be taking care of it. And it is a hosted. When you say hosted, you do not need to require any installation. If you work on any C++, you require a Turbo C. You need to install the Turbo C. Then only you can start working on or implementing the code in C++. But in order to start the coding here, you need not to install anything. You can directly start it. And next one is, it's a multi-tenant. It's multi-tenant aware. Multiple projects can be built in one platform. Multi-tenant aware means multiple projects can be built in one platform. Right? I can implement Apex, whatever the I need, like I can implement integration, everything I can do it in the Apex. And once I return the code in the Apex, it's easy to test. We do not need any testing tools to test the Apex code like Selenium, Mercury, Load Runner. We do not need this. We have to write our own test classes to test our code. And Apex is always having the versioning. Right? Whenever you create a Apex, there is a version which gets created. So Salesforce maintains the version. For example, tomorrow somebody modified the code. Okay, if you want the older version to be getting it, then there is a place where we can get the older version of the code. And next one is, it is automatically upgradable. Automatically upgradable. Salesforce has every quarter one release, summer, spring, winter. Whenever there is a release, we need not to update anything in the Apex. Salesforce itself is going to take care of everything from the scratch whenever there is an update happens. Right? So before the upgradation, like Salesforce is going to alert you in case if there are any changes, and they will give us some time to test the code in case if there are any changes on the upgradation. So once we are comfortable, then only we can request our sandbox to upgrade it. In case if we do not want to upgrade it, we can request them to not to update it right now. So there is a flexibility on it. So these are the some points why Salesforce Apex. Okay, so in order to implement a development, I need to learn some language here. I need to learn some language which is called as a Apex language construct. Right? It's similar like if you are writing a blog, okay, your thought is to write one story or one blog. If you want to write a blog, first thing what you need, you have to understand, you wanted to write the blog in Spanish. Okay, you wanted to write the blog in Spanish, or you wanted to write the story in Spanish. What you need to understand first what are the letters are there. Like ABCD, you need to understand how to write the ABCD. Right? A for what, you need to understand. Once you are clear about the ABCD, whatever the letters are there, all the letters, and what is each one, how do you pronounce it? If you know that, then only you can write the blog or story in Spanish, right? So in order to here also same thing applies. In order to implement a development or in order to write a code, In order to develop any business logic, first thing we need to understand the basic ABCD. So here ABCD in the Apex is different. So we are going to learn those steps. So those are different Apex language construct. We call it as a Apex language construct. There are different type of construct. One is data types. Second one is variable. Third one, expression. And fourth one, assignment, statements. Please take a notes, okay, because this is very important. Next one is conditional statements. Conditional statement means if else. Next, loops. Next language is SOQL and saucer queries. And we have a locking statement. Locking statement and transaction control. Transaction control. And next, exception statements. And last one is TML. These are the different Apex language construct. 11 construct are there. 11 different type of language constructs are there. Right? If we know all these 11, that means we are perfect in writing the coding in Apex. We are perfect in writing the code if we know all these 11 steps. How to use it, where to use it, when to use it, what are the corner limits. If we know all of this, we are perfect in writing the code. Now let's go ahead and see one by one what is the each language, how to use it, and what is it means. So first thing we will go ahead and use the data types. What is a data types? Data types is nothing but any information is called data. Any information is called data. There are again 4 types of data in Salesforce. There are 4 types of data in Salesforce. One is primitive data type. And the second one, S-object data type. And the third one is collection data type. Fourth one, enumeration data type. Okay. Data types is very important in Apex because if you know how to declare a primitive data type, S-object data type, collection data type, if you know all of this, you will be like you know how to capture the information. You will be very good in writing the code, I can say. Definitely these are important, but before any of this, you need to understand the data types first. Right? There are 4 types of data types. So basically a data can be classified into either of one. A data can be classified into primitive or a subject or collection or enumeration. So when you say, if you know that how to create a field, for example, I have a field which is holding the 42%. When you say 42%, what data type is it? It's a percentage, right? If I have the value 42.32, then what is the data type? Decimal. And if I have a some text or some string, what is the data type? Text. If I have a data which says 32, what is the data type? Number. So like this, we have a different data types. But these are normally whenever we create a field, we used to select which data type I wanted to create a field, right? On the object, if you want to create a new field, click on a new button. You will see different options to create a data type. Either you have to choose the pick list or checkbox or text, long text area, master detail, or lookup relationship, formula field. You will see all of this, date, time, right? So here also we have a different data types that we can do. First, we will see the primitive data type. So primitive data type is nothing but it's a traditional data type. You might have seen primitive data type in C as well, right? C or C++, whoever is worked on, or final year of BTech, you might have seen the primitive data type. So primitive data types is nothing but traditional data type used across all the programming languages. Every programming language will have. Every programming language will have a primitive data type. Primitive data type is nothing but traditional data type used across the programming language is called as a primitive data type. Let's say example for primitive data type, integer, decimal, date, ID, long, time. These all are called as a primitive data type. Which are the programming language you go? You go to C. There are also, you have a integer, string, right? Everywhere we have a common data type. Any common data type is called as a primitive data type. Now, where to write this program? Now we understood primitive data type is the one of the data type, right? Now we have understood what is the primitive data type. Now let's go ahead and see how to implement a primitive data type. Let's go to the Salesforce developer console. Okay. So in the developer console, when you open, right, you have a file, new Apex class, right? But before implementing a Apex class, you wanted to try the code. You wanted to check the code, whether it is working or not. It's kind of a trial. I do not want to write a Apex class, but I wanted to check whether 4 lines of code is working fine or not. How can I cross check? We have something called in developer console debug, open, execute, anonymous window. Open the developer console. There you have a debug option. Click on the debug option. You will see open executive anonymous window. Right? Here you will say enter Apex code. So when you open this, it will be empty. right? Now I do not want to write a program, but I wanted to just check primitive data type, how to declare the primitive data type. That's it. I do not want to execute any program right now, or I do not want to write a program. So in that case, I can come to the anonymous window. How to open? Debug, open execute anonymous window. Okay. So as soon as you open, you will see there is a window, enter Apex code. Okay. And whenever we write a code here, we need not to save anywhere, because this is just for temporary purpose. The window will open, you can execute and you can see the data, right? This is for developer purpose. Developer who wants to try some code, who wants to check some code, right? In that case, they can come here and cross check. It's a trial kind of a thing, but the code will not be saved anywhere. Okay, so in order to declare a primitive data type, let's say that we have taken the example of integer A, right? String, let's say name, boolean, let's say st, some value I'm giving it. So these all are primitive declaration, primitive data type declaration, integer, string, boolean, long, right? Long, I can give some name, description, right? And I can give the date. I can give some date. Right? This is the declaration of primitive data type. How do I declare the primitive data type? I can just declare what is my data type and the variable name. So the command will be data type and variable name. Data type and the variable name. So what will happen if I declare it like this? So I'm not assigning any value to integer or string or boolean. I'm not assigning anything. So what is this means? Basically, I'm trying to create a container here. When I say integer A container gets created. String name container is going to create, right? When I say st container is going to create it. So I'm creating a container for each of them. For integer, one container. For string, one container. For boolean, one container. For date, another container. All the integer values of the A should go to A container. String, name, whatever the name has all the values, it should go to the name container. Right? It's like a boxes, or if I have to say exactly, at house, whenever you are preparing something, rice, right, will be in one container, right? Or if you are preparing a chicken, that will be in another container. You will not mix both of them, right? The rice container will only for rice. Chicken container is only for chicken. You will not mix chicken and rice both together. That will come later. I'll explain that later. But for now, you are creating for only one person. You are cooking for one person, right? When you cook for one person, you will cook separately for rice, separately chicken, right? So right now I am also creating only for one. A is the one container I am doing it that will hold only one value. Integer A will hold only one value, right? String name will hold only one value. For boolean st will hold only one value. Like if I say name equal to let's say Samskar, we'll give another Salesforce Tech, right? Salesforce Tech. I'm just giving one value because that container is dedicated for only one value. If I say A equal to 3 or 33 or boolean st equal to true, right? So basically what we have understood, a data type which is available across the programming language, we call them as a primitive data type, right? So right now I'm creating a primitive data type. Primitive data type is used for only to declare a single value or single variable, right? If I execute this, nothing will happen. How to execute it? When we are writing the code on the anonymous window, how to execute it? And one more thing, whenever we wanted to comment in the apex, you have to add 2/. If you want to comment, you have to add a 2 slashes here. Whereas in Visual Force page, how we are doing it? Exclamation, dash, dash, and the dash, dash. Close it. Whatever this between is there, that was written, whatever is, if we wanted to comment out. So how do we comment it? Exclamation, dash, dash, dash. This is the way in the Visual Force page. But right now we are talking about Apex. In Apex, 2/. Right? So whenever we are writing a code in the anonymous window, how to execute it? Okay, there are here on the bottom, if you see, 2 buttons and 1 checkbox is there. Execute, execute highlighted, open log. Okay, let me show you that. First, I'll uncheck this. Okay, if I execute it, if I click on an execute button, it will execute everything that is written in this box. Whatever the code is written here, it will execute everything. Top to bottom, whatever the code is there, it will by default execute it. But if I say execute highlighted, okay, so let's assume that I have another date time. Okay, so I'll give the some variable name as birth date. Okay, birth date. Okay, now what I want, I do not want to execute everything. I just wanted to execute only this part from the 2nd line to 6th line. So in that case, highlight the code. Highlight the code that you wanted to execute it and click on the execute. Click on the execute highlighted. Do not click on execute. If you are highlighted the code which you wanted to execute, click on the execute highlight. But if you want everything to be executed, click on the execute. Okay, so let's execute. Right now I wanted to execute everything. Okay, I'll click on execute. Now here, when I check this, what will happen is if I click on the execute, it will automatically opens the log. It will automatically opens the log, right? But if I uncheck that, if I uncheck, what will happen? It will create the log, but it will not open. You have to again click on this to open, right? So that is the option that are available. So it is better to check open log every time, and better to highlight the code, which are the code you wanted to execute it, highlight it, and click on execute highlighted, so that it will execute the piece that you are highlighted. Now, I do not have any issues while executing it. It is working perfectly fine. It is working perfectly fine. right? Let me write some code here. Let's say that write a program to calculate area. Let's say that to calculate the area, okay? Or area of given rectangle.
Just now you have executed the code, right? The data type and the variable name. And when you clicked on execute and highlight, where you're able to see that.
Can you be a bit louder? I cannot hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
When you executed the code for integer all the one data types, we are able to see the execution log now. So where we can see these all the data types there.
Yes, logs will be covering everything. Like if you see here, integer, it created the integer, birthday, description, name, ST, some date. So it will try to allocate the memory for that, right? It will try to create it. And then once initialization is done, then it will see, is there any information is allocated for them? Like a name, Salesforce tech, ST is true, description is null. So it will take the value, it will try to put it into the container. So the log, whenever the log is open, the log is related to the code that we have executed. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say that, let's execute one program related to, let's say that calculate an area of given rectangular. Let's say that integer L length. I'm just taking some example, integer B, okay? And let's say integer A. Now A is the result. Why I'm giving the integer A declaration? Because whenever I get the response, it will be in the integer format. A equal to L into B. Okay. So I'm going to give L is the integer, B is the integer, right? And what are the output I'll get it? The output is also in the integer format. The output is also integer format. Now, what are the value that I give? It should take and print it. But right now, let's see this, how it is going to display. Now, in order to see the logs, in order to see a log, for example, you wanted to see what is the value at the end, you wanted to see what is the value stored in A. So how can you do it in Salesforce? You have to use the system.debug log. We have a specific keyword which is says system.debug. System.debug is going to give the particular information you wanted to get. So for example, here I wanted to get the A value, okay? I wanted to print A. It's like a print. If you are in C, like once you are done, then you will say print A, right? You will say print A, then it will print the value output, right? So same thing here, but it is not a print. It is like if you wanted to debug and understand what is the value in the A, then you have to use a system.debug. System.debug. Let's see, let's highlight this, execute the highlighted one. See, attempt to dereference null object. Attempt to dereference null object, because where it is coming, it will show the value line number also, 14th line. So when it is calculating this, it could not find any value here. Because it's right now the container is created, but inside the container there is nothing is there. You cannot mix both because there is nothing inside the container. So let's go ahead and give some number here because it is an integer. Let's say, okay, 40, 50. Integer A, I'm not giving the value because that is the output. Now let's highlight this, execute it. So when I executed it, it shows all the logs. But if you want to see your own debug log, you have to check this. You have to check, there is a 4 checkboxes below. If you check only debug only values I wanted to see. When you say debug only means, if you have in your code system.debug, if you want to see only those debugs, then check this, right? Only debug values it is going to display. Or if you want to executable, whatever the code that is executed, you wanted to see those code. So these are the executable code. What is the code? 50, B40, null, and 2000. These are the executable codes. Whatever the code that is executing it, initialization it won't show. Initialization like a integer L, integer B, integer A, you might not get, right? So executable means system execute and variable assignment. These two are main, and whatever the user debug is also going to show. But when you say debug, means it is going to show only the debug. Though the checkbox is active for the executable, but it is going to highlight the debug only. Right? So 2000 it is displaying, right? That means my code is working fine. So the value is getting the 2000. For example, if I give a some text here, system.debug, because I have a lot of debugs. In order to differentiate my debug out of 100 debugs, then what I can see, area of given rectangle is. Okay. Now let's click on this, execute the highlighted one. It will open another log. Okay. So if I click on this, see, here it is displaying. Okay. But in case, if there are so many debugs are there, okay, you wanted to pick only the one which is having the area. Which are the one is having the area, only those logs you wanted to see. So what you can do, you can filter on that. You can filter on particular text. If you know the text, you can filter and see the value. Right? That's how you debug it. In real time also we use this for the debugging purpose, or whenever we are writing the code. This line we always use it. But whenever we are pushing to production, we remove this or we comment out this line. Because this debug is going to take a lot of space in the memory. This debug log is going to take a lot of memory in lot of space in memory. So whenever we are pushing to production, comment out your system debugs. But when you are writing the code, if you are still implementing the code, you can always use the system.debug. Once your work is done, just remove this or comment out this. Right? Clear so far?
So this system.debug is on our purpose for this testing.
Your voice is very low, Hema.
What I'm trying to say, system.debug we use one only for developer to test the code is working or not. Before deployment, we can comment and we can deploy it, right?
Yes, yes. That is for testing for developer, because like you have 100 lines of code, okay? Out of 100 lines, it's failing in 50th line. The code is failing in 50th line, but you do not understand why it is failing. Sometimes we pass the data, but still the code is failing it. In those scenarios, wherever the line it is failing it, before that line, you wanted to know what is the value that is coming there. So in that case, you can put the system.debug and check what is the value is coming there, so that we will understand why it is failing at the 50th line. Based on that, we can take a action. This is kind of a, it is going to helpful for developer, I can say, not for anybody, only for developer to track the data that is coming in the code. It's kind of a testing, you can say, but more of a testing. It's kind of a tracking the information on the particular data type. Okay. So let's go ahead and write the second program. Right. Let's write a program to subtract or to add, subtract or multiply or division of two numbers. We'll take two numbers and we'll calculate these all. Okay. So what I'll need here, basically I needed two integer values. Let's take integer, let's say num1 equal num1. Okay, integer num2. So it's a basically, it's not a case sensitive here. If you see, sometimes I'm writing a capital I, sometimes I'm writing a small I integer, right? It's not a case sensitive. That's what I mentioned. It is a in case sensitive, but because it's not like a Java or Lightning or these all are case sensitive, but this is not a case sensitive. Apex is not a case sensitive. Okay, you can use it. You can use either small letter, capital letter, or if I have to say integer, capital letter, integer result, right? So I can use it any format, that should be fine, but it should match with the integer word. Okay, so first we will see result equal to num1 plus num2. Okay, and then we will print the value. What is the value? It is coming system.debug. Let's say the addition of two given number. Right? RES. Okay, so once addition is done, let me subtract it and then we'll print it. And once we are done with the subtraction, let's go ahead and print the multiplication. And once we are done with the multiplication print, then go ahead and update here division. Right? See here, I am updating my result and I'm printing it. Again, I'm updating my result, again printing it. I am changing the result, printing it. Again, changing the result and printing it. But it does not change the previous value. Okay, the line of execution will be line by line. Once the cursor reaches here, while executing, my cursor reaches here, it does not update it updates the value here and it will print it, but it does not update this value. It does not update this value, right? I'm doing the addition. It will print the addition. Then I'm doing the subtraction. It will print the subtraction, but here it will be still addition. And next time doing the multiply, it will print the multiply, but here it will be subtraction. And next time doing the division. Next time doing the division. So this RES will be the division, right? But here is the problem. The result here will be integer. Subtraction also will be integer. Multiplication also integer. But when I divide, I'll get, for example, 5 by 2, right? I'll get a 2.5. If my num1 is 5 and num2 is 2, then I'll get 2.5, right? That is not an integer. It is not an integer. So it will not hold the value. There is a problem here. So integer will not hold the value here, right? So in that case, what I can do is decimal can hold the integer. Decimal can hold the integer because if it has a 12, it can hold it. If it has a 5, it can hold it. Decimal can hold it. But integer will not hold the decimal. Let's execute this. Okay, I have not initialized it. It is going to throw the error. Let's say that 3 and num2 equal to 2. Highlight the code. Execute highlighted. System, something is wrong. Okay, system. So this is going to give you clear information what is the wrong. Now it executed, opening the log. Let's click on the debug only. See here, 3 by 2, 3 num1 value, num2 value is 2. 3 plus 2, 5. 3 minus 2, 1. 3 into 2, 6. 3 by 2, 1.5. Right? If I give the big number also, will it work? Like if I give 333 and let's say 25. Highlight this, sorry. Highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Fine, it executed, debug only. See, it gives me all the values it gave me. Okay, so let's go for homework. So homework. Homework is write a program to calculate simple interest. Everybody is aware of simple interest, right? If you are not, simple interest is nothing but PTR by 100, right? So what is a PTR? You need to have the variable called P means principal amount. You need to declare a principal amount. And second variable, you need to declare a rate of interest. And the third one, you need to declare a time period. Time period. Now result will be PTR by 100, right? P means principal, T means rate of interest, sorry, time period, R means rate of interest. So it will be the P multiply R. This is basically, okay, this is the homework for today. Fine. So far everybody is clear. Anybody has any questions? Yes, Hema, you have any questions?
In this homework, when give the rate of interest, we'll give like 12%, 13%, right?
Yes.
So we need to use a percentage variable, or we can directly give the
A percentage, you will get it at the end of the result. Result might be the percentage, but here the value is give it as an integer for now. You can either give the integer or double should be fine. Double also should be fine. You can take the double. Let's declare it as a double so that you will understand. But if you want to play with this percentage and everything, you can play with the things. But main thing is that whether you are able to get the result or not. So let's use the decimal here. Okay, so you might be getting a question like I'm declaring it integer L, integer B, integer A, right? So maybe any of you might be thinking, why to declare 2 times? Can I declare L, comma, B, comma, A? All the variables, can I declare it here instead of declaring integer L, integer B, integer A? But this is not the way to declare it. This doesn't call as a good programming. This does not call as a good programming, and it is not way to good practice. This is not a good practice. So you always have to create a integer L, integer B, integer A. Okay, and if maybe once you are very perfect in the Apex, then you might use L, comma, B, comma, A, whatever it is. But right now it is not good practice for the basic. Whoever is learning the Apex, it's not a good practice for them. Because if you have 100 variables or something is there, do not declare everything in one line. It doesn't call for the good programming. Right? So we understood how to write the primitive data type so far. Right? Now let's go for the S-object data type. Let's go for the S-object data type. What is the S-object data type? S-object data type is nothing but Salesforce specific data type. Salesforce specific data type. S-object is nothing but Salesforce specific data type. What it will do to hold the holding custom or system object is called as a S-object data type. S-object data type is nothing but specific Salesforce specific data type that can hold the either custom object or system object. What are the examples for this? Let's say account, contact, lead, opportunity, custom objects, vehicle, right, patient, registration, right? So all the underscore C is called as a custom object. All the underscore C is called as a custom object. And these all are standard object. These all are standard object, right? Wherever you see underscore C is called as a custom object. Okay, I remember something. Let me give you more information on that. Okay. So whatever the fields or object you see underscore C is nothing but wherever you see underscore C is nothing but either it is a custom object or it is a custom field. Wherever you see underscore underscore C on the field or on the object, that means those are custom object or custom field. And wherever you see underscore underscore R after the name of the object or variable, whatever it might be, at the end, if you see like API suffix, I can say API suffix. Okay. Any API which is ending with underscore underscore, what is that? It is means custom relationship. Custom relationship. Underscore underscore R means custom relationship. You are referring to the custom relationship object. And whenever you see underscore underscore E is nothing but this, you will hear these words later. Right now you will hear only the underscore underscore C. But I wanted to give you the idea what are the each API names ending with. What are the different suffix we have? Whenever you see underscore underscore E is nothing but platform event. Is nothing but platform event. There is a platform event which we can create. It's like an object only, but we call it as a platform event, right? And wherever you see underscore underscore B ending with underscore underscore B is nothing but custom big objects. We have a custom big objects that have a more space compared to the custom object. More usability or more space, more memory will be occupied there. And whenever you see underscore underscore MDT, MDT is nothing but custom metadata type. Custom metadata type. We have a custom metadata, right? And for the external object, if you are trying to pull a object from the external system, for them it will be underscore underscore X. So that is an external object. Wherever you see underscore underscore X is nothing but the object is pulled from external. Okay, these are the some points, remember it. Okay. Fine. So coming back to the S object data type. S object data type is nothing but Salesforce specific data type that holds the custom or system object. Custom object is nothing but vehicle underscore underscore C, patient underscore underscore C, registration underscore underscore C. Any object that is ending with underscore underscore C is called as a custom object. What are the system objects? Account, contact, lead, opportunity, cases, right? All of this, contract, all of this is called as a system object. What is an object? If you ask what is an object, object is nothing but a kind of a table, I can say. It's kind of a table. In Salesforce, complete table. So object is nothing but a table. But in Salesforce, this table itself is called as a data. In Salesforce, table itself is called as a data. That means I'll be having a data inside data. Like you will go to the account, right? In the account object, whenever you open the account, like you will open like multiple records you will be opening, right? In the object, like that means you are opening the data. And inside the data, you have a fields like first name, last name, everything, all the data will be there. So that means in Salesforce is table itself is a data. And inside that you will be having a multiple data information, right? Now let me go ahead to the developer console and show you how to create S object data type. Let's go for practical. Okay. Now from here, S object data type. S object data type. Let's see how to create a S object data type. Right? How to declare S object data type? S object means any system object or custom object, right? Any system object or custom object. That means account ACC, or contact, some variable, or case, some variable, or lead, some variable. Means how you declare it? It's basically your object name. Object name, and then your variable. Object name and your variable. Right? So when you say account ACC, that means you are creating a container here ACC. Right? So I have used the account, contact, case, lead. Let me see, is there any other custom object? Objects. Let's go to object. Let me switch to the lightning. Okay. Setup. Object manager. And then let's go to any custom. Any custom. So I see that there is a right. Okay. Here is a custom object. I can see patient. So how to declare the patient? Same object name, and then I can say patient. I can take any name, that should be fine. But here the object name should be the whatever the API name is there. Same thing I have to take. So for example, if I execute, it brings the empty structure. Brings the empty structure data because I do not have any data. I do not have any data. My declaration is empty. Everything ACC null, con null, CS null, L null, patient null. My declaration is empty, null tables. I have just a null tables. It is only copies the table structure. It doesn't copy anything. What is the reason? Because I have not given anything. I have not given anything. Now, here is the little different compared to primitive data type. Observe carefully. And this is very important. Okay, in S object declaration, whenever you wanted to create a new record, whenever you wanted to create a new record, whenever you wanted to create a new record or a new entry in table, when I say in table, is nothing but in account or in contact or in case or in lead or in patient object. Whenever you wanted to create a new record or new entry in table, that we have to use the new keyword. If I wanted to create a new record, I have to use the new keyword. What is that means? What I'm doing it right now here. Let me go to the here. Okay, account. So whenever I wanted to create a new record, what I'll do, I'll click on a new, right? I'll click on a new and then I'll give the name. Some name I'll give, right? And then I'll say. So same thing, I'm going to implement it in Apex. Same thing I'm going to implement it. So in case if I wanted to initialize or if I wanted to create a new record, we have to always use the new keyword. We have to always use the new keyword. New of which object? Account. Whatever the object that is left side, right side should be the same. Account ACC equal to new account. This is initialization. I am initializing the account, right? I am initializing the account. Here I have used the new keyword. So when I say new keyword is nothing but I'm going to create a new record, right? In primitive data type, we do not use. In primitive data type, I do not use like integer a equal to new integer. No, we do not use this. In primitive data type, we do not use it. In primitive data type, we do not use. We just declare the data type and what is the variable name. But when it comes to S object data type, why it is so different? Because this data type is only Salesforce specific data type. And we are using the Salesforce objects here. Either it could be a custom object or standard object. We are using the Salesforce object. If I wanted to create a new record from the Apex, what I have to do, I have to use the new keyword. And this is called as a initialization. What is the initialization means? Creation of a memory allocation. That means it created in the heap memory. It created in the heap memory. Space is allocated for this. When I say initialization means creation of memory. There is a space that is allocated for this particular variable. And in the primitive data type, whenever we declare a primitive data type, it does not require manual initialization in primitive data type. We need not to do like this. This is only for S object. Right? So how do I record hide? How do I create it? Like here in the Salesforce, I give account name equal to some last name. Same thing we can give name equal to Salesforce Tech. And we can give some other fields also. Let's take it. There are few API fields in the account. Let's say phone. Phone is the text. So I can give any number. And I have a fax field. Fax is also text. I can give any number. Then we have another field called industry equal to banking. See where I'm taking these fields. If you have that confusion, go to the account. Go to the account object. Go to the fields and relationship. See here name, right? And you will see industry, fax, right? Phone number. Industry is pick list. I have taken one of the pick list value. What is the pick list value that I have taken? Banking. Right? You can take whatever the API fields are there. Let's example rating is another API field. This is a hot. Okay. So I'm trying to create a new account by initializing it. I'm creating a new account. Right? If you say that Okay, this is fine. This is to create a single record. Okay, this is to create a single record. But for example, I wanted to create a multiple account. Multiple records I wanted to create. Like I wanted to create a 3 account records or 4 account records. Then that is a different concept. If you wanted to create a more than one record, then we come to the collection data type. So hold for that. Hold for that. So collection data type is nothing but a collection of records and collection of strings. We'll come to that point, right? But let's see first S object, right? Different ways I can create it. This is inside the bracket, I'm writing everything here, right? Either I can do that. This is a type 1. This is a type 1 of initialization. Let's assume that I have a type. There is a different way of declaration as well. Account. Let's say this is ACC2 equal to new account, right? Now, how can I declare it? Same thing I can declare it, but here I have to use the referral. Whatever the variable name is there, that I have to refer it here. Dot name equal to del, right? ACC2 dot phone equal to, I can give any number, 555. ACT2 dot fax equal to 666. ACT2 dot industry equal to, let me take energy. There is another field pick list value. Any questions, Hema? You have any questions? Okay. Anybody has any questions so far? Venkatesh, Sivan, Sharwan, Akhil. Any questions, anybody? Okay, moving on. So basically a subject data type is either I can declare, this is basically new record. I'm creating a new record, okay? Creation of new record can be in different way. I can directly give my API field name inside this bracket, or else I can initialize first, then I can refer this variable dot whatever the API fields are there, I can give it. Right? Same thing for patient also. For custom objects also, we can do the same thing. Like patient, let's take the variable as P or PT. Patient PT equal to new patient. Right? So let's see what are the variables it has. PT dot. Let me go to the object. Object manager, patient, fields. Okay, I have a name. PT dot name equal to patient details and patient dot last name. PT dot patient dot last name. John and patient email. PT dot patient email equal to john@abcdess.com. Okay. So I can, same thing I can do it for the custom objects also. Whatever the fields that I wanted to give the information, like for example, I wanted to create a new patient record. Okay. While creating the new patient record, I wanted to enter the name, patient last name, patient email. So that's the reason I have declared it, right? But if I execute this, let's go ahead and execute this. What will happen? Execute the highlighted one. If I execute it, like I have executed the Salesforce tag, done. But did it create in my here? Did it create it? Let's refresh. No, it did not create. So I executed this. Okay, I'm creating a new record. Okay, here also new is there. Here also new is there, right? I'm creating a new record. And same thing for the patient. If I click on execute highlighted, what will happen? It does not create my patient. Let me go to the patient. Okay, so it's not enable. Let me go to the tabs, or better I'll go tab. Let's enable that tabs. Okay, let's enable the patient's object. And let's choose the style, some style factory. Next, default on, should be fine. Save. Now let's refresh. So if I go to the patients, I do not see any records, right? Now let me go ahead and execute the patient, the new record. See, it executed, but it did not create any record. That means what happened just now? What happened just now? That means I just clicked on a new, okay, right? I just clicked on a new. That means I initialized the new. Okay, I gave the some names here. I gave some names here, right? But I have not clicked on any DML. I have not clicked on save here. I did not do anything. DML operation I did not do. I did not write anywhere save. I did not write anywhere save here also. I did not write save here also. I did not write anything. You all know DML options, right? DML, you all know DML, data manipulation language, insert, update, upsert, delete, right? These all are DML options. So I have not written anywhere here insert. I did not say anywhere insert PT. That means create, go ahead and create it. I did not say that. So in order to save, in Salesforce, we have a save button here. But in Apex, we have something called insert. Insert PT. Okay. Let me refresh. Let me execute this highlighted one. Now it executed. Let's refresh. See, it created a record with the patient details, John @ABC, right? Insert means then only it is going to put whatever you are creating the memory. Initially it will be null, empty. This table is empty. When you say insert, then only this entire data goes and sits into the table. Otherwise, if you do not write insert and if you execute this part, it will be on the air. It will be flying. Nowhere it is inserted. Nowhere it is hitting the data. It's in the fly. Right? It created the table. There is a data, right? But it did not insert the data here. It is sitting somewhere in the air. So when you say insert PT, then only it is going to execute it. Same thing here. When I execute this, what will happen? Execute the highlighted. It will create the table. There is a memory is allocated for this, right? Memory is allocated for this. And the values will be there. The values will be having the information. This dot name 555, fax equal to 666, industry equals to energy. Values will be there, but it's not sitting in the, it's nowhere. Like it doesn't know. Basically, it is confused. Okay, I have it. You told me to create a table. Okay, Salesforce says that, okay, you told me to create a table. I created the table. I occupied the memory for this. There is a space is allocated for this initialization. And you also mentioned some name, phone, fax, industry. You mentioned this, but Salesforce says that I do not know where to put this. So I'll keep it in the temporary box. But when you write insert ACC2, that's how there is a confirmation. Okay, it says insert. That means these values has to be inserted into the account. How it will understand account? Because the variable that I gave ACC2, everywhere it is referred ACC2. Like if I click execute the highlighted one, let's go ahead and see the accounts. Now you see there is a del is created. Before it was not there. Right? So what are the phone number, fax, account name, industry I gave? The same details is came. Clear?
Created the custom object, right, for patient.
Sorry?
For patient, you just went to the admin, to the lightning and created the custom object. So that is compulsory step. We first create the patient custom object.
Hema, can you repeat that?
After in your page, after MVC, you have patients tab also, right? So that
yes.
needs to be created through the custom object. But custom create the patient and we give the labeling and everything. That
yes.
is a compulsory step. If we give that, then you give the name, it will insert the record there. Correct?
Right.
Without
That's
that,
right.
it won't be.
Yes, that is correct. Because when you are inserting it, system needs to understand where the data needs to be inserted. So what are the variable you give? So it will try to go and fetch that particular table, PT. PT means patients. So what are the, that means I'm telling this all information to put it into the PT. PT means patients object. So system will understand. It's kind of a, what can I say? It's kind of a nickname. What are the memory is allocated for that? It is a nickname PT. Right? Instead of every time I write in the patient dot name, patient dot underscore C, patient, last name, everything, I can give a nickname to this patients. Okay, I can use this nickname everywhere till the insert. As soon as I say the insert, so it's kind of a, you are calling somebody as a chinky, right? As soon as you call chinky, whoever name is Chinky, they will turn it, but their actual name is different. Maybe different name. It's kind of a Ramesh or something name is there, right? But their actual name is Ramesh. Okay, but you are calling as RRR something. There is a nickname called RR for him. So when you call RRR, he turns up because he knows what is his actual name, what is his name. So same thing here also. The actual object name is a API name. For that, whenever we are initializing the object, we are giving some name to that. And every time, whenever we are trying to pass the data, we use that nickname dot name or dot whatever the API field name is there, we will use that. And while inserting also, we'll use that nickname. And it's the same, whatever we are doing, I'm not doing extra anything here. Again, I'm repeating, I'm not doing extra anything here. Like you go to the patient or account object, anything, when you click on the new object, whatever the data you are passing here manually, I'm just creating it from programmatically. Same thing, I'm doing it programmatically. And sometimes you do not need this information because right now only this name is mandatory. First name is mandatory, rest all you need not to give. So you can remove it and insert it. Clear so far, primitive object data type and S object data type, primitive data type, S object data type. Clear? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's clear. Yes, primary is object. Now it's
Okay, so there is an assignment for this primitive data type and S object data type. Okay. Create a custom object. Homework is create a custom object called demo. Create a custom object. Where do you create it? In Salesforce, you have to create it. In Salesforce, you have to create a new object. Okay. Create a demo object. Inside that, create a fields. Fields is first name, last name, topic, number of audience. Okay. Create these 4 fields. Okay. And from Apex, insert 5 records. Insert 5 records from Apex. How do you do that? Same like this. It's like a demo dot first name. You have to pass demo dot first name and demo dot last name and demo dot topic, demo dot number of audience. Number of audience will be the integer. This is a number. When you are creating the field, take the number. Number field is 10, 0. Okay, insert 5 records into the custom object called demo. Everybody noted the homework?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now moving on to the collection data type. So collection data type, as I discussed before, if you wanted to create a multiple records at a time, then you go with collection data type. What is the definition of collection data type? Collection is nothing but data Collection is nothing but data type. Data type that holding more than one data is called collection. Holding more than one data is called as collection. Okay. In other way, if I have to say, in other way, this is an array. This is an array. In other way, this is an array. Why I'm saying array? Because if you know, if you have worked or if you know, in C, C++, we use array. We do not use a collection. Right? We do not use a collection. We use array, right? We use array. So collection is nothing but an array, means it is holding a more than one data. So basically collection is a container is required. So collection, for example, I have a collection as a container. Okay. In that container, I can hold the multiple data. Like as I said, an example, if you are cooking for one member, you will cook everything like a rice in small bowl, right? Chicken in small bowl, right? What are the different ingredients are there? You will cook it in different bowl. But if you have a members like a 10 members, 20 members, some family function is there. You have to cook for 10 members. You have to cook for maybe 50 members. In that case, what you will do, you will take the big container. And sometimes what you do, you will take a big container, but you will prepare a biryani. Instead of rice, you will prepare a biryani. That is a mixture of rice and chicken. Right? You will mix all the ingredient in that. Multiple data. You will mix multiple data and you prepare that. So same thing, collection is also having the data that is holding the more than one data is called as a collection. And this can contain the multiple data. I'll show one example, what I mean multiple data. But before that, collection has a 3 different subtypes. Collection has a 3 different subtypes: list, set, map. List collection, set collection, map collection. List collection, set collection, map collection. Okay. List, set, map, right? What is the list? What is the list? This is unordered. This is unordered collection of primitive data type. Primitive or S object. Primitive or S object or user defined object, user defined object or collection itself. What is the list? List can have any data type. List can have primitive data type, S object data type, or any user defined data type, or list itself will have the collection itself. But this will be in, it is not going to be the order. It will be unordered. When I say order, it's like a ascending order. A should come first, B, then C, then D. No, it doesn't follow that format. List does not follow the order. It is an unordered And what is the data that can contain? It can contain the primitive data type or S-object data type or user-defined data type, or list itself is a collection. When I say list itself is a collection, that means list can contain again list. This is a list outer, right? Inside this again it can contain the list. So list itself is a collection, can be happen. And we use this in real time many times. And how it is going to store the information? List has indexes. List has indexes. That means it starts with 0 position. It starts with 0 position. Like if I say some names, right, let me take A, B, N, P. Okay. List has indexes. 0th index is A, first index is B, second index is N, third index is T. So list has indexes. And list can contain duplicates also. It can contain duplicates. It can contain a duplicate. Right? Let me go ahead and show you one example. So we are starting with collection data type. Collection data type. Okay. First one, we will see the list. First one, we will see the list. How to declare a list? Like it can contain a primitive data type, right? List of, what are the primitive data type? Let's assume string, right? For example, list of string. Then I can give names. I'm giving some name there. List of string names. Then I have to initialize this. How to initialize? Using the new keyword. New list string. List can contain a primitive data type, right? List can contain a primitive data type. One of the primitive data type is string. String of name. String of names, right? What are the names that I wanted to show? Some names I wanted to show. Like I have a names. Let's assume that Hema, okay? And I have a Akhil. And I have Shiva. And Sharvan. And we have Venkatesh. It's in a format, right? Let me put Venkatesh here. I wanted to add the names not in the alphabetic. So here I'll take Shiva. So what I'm doing right now, we are working on collection data type. We are working on collection data type. Which data type? List. What is the first one that we are seeing? List can contain a primitive data type. So first we are checking the example that contains the primitive data type. So I have initialized it. How to initialize? List of primitive data type. And I have given some name to this. In order to create a new one, I'm using the new keyword. And then again list string. Where I'm passing the values, the names where I'm passing it, I'm passing here. Right? Now let's take another primitive data type. Let's take another primitive data type. List of integer. Let's take a primitive data type, integer. Let's say that even number. Even number. I'm creating the new list, right? I'm using the new keyword, new list of integer. New list of integer. How to declare it? I can declare in the JSON format. I can declare in JSON format. So let's assume that this is an integer. So let me take 2, 5, 3, 7, 23, 64, 11, 8. Right? I have taken two lists. One is with the primitive data type string. Another one is primitive data type of integer. What is the values that I'm storing in first? Names, all the names. All the names that I'm storing it. What is the integer? The second one, list of integer is storing it. All the integer, even numbers I'm storing it. It could be any number. Let's not talk about the even number. Let's talk numbers. Okay. I'm storing some numbers here. I'm storing the some numbers here, right? So 2, 5, 3, 7, any number I'm storing it here. Okay. Now, if I execute this, highlight that to execute it, what will happen? It's not opening the new one. Why? And one more thing, when you have so many logs here, below you have so many logs, right? If you want to clean up this, click on a debug, clear. Here the first option. On clear, first option called log, clear the log panel. It will clear everything. Open, highlight this, execute highlighted. Okay. Now you see the names is storing the values and some number is also, it says here, list of size 8, too large to display. It's not displaying the numbers here because it is too large to display. The list of size is 8. Now let me go back. How many are there here? 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 are there, but it is too large. It is saying, let me reduce it. Highlight this.
Is there any limit, ma'am? Like we have to give this many digits, something like that?
No, there is no limits. But if in case if you wanted to see, there is no debug point. Okay. So numbers are not displaying it. That's fine. There is no limit on that. You can do it as many as, let's say 3, 4, 5, 23, 34, 111. There is no limits on that. Okay. Now let me print to know what is the value that is stored in some numbers and what is the value stored in names. So how to do that? In order to print that, for developer system.debug, let's say names, okay, system.debug some numbers. Semicolon is always important. End of every line, it has to be there. So highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Now click on the debug. You see here, all the names are coming here. Hema, Akhil, Venkatesh, Shravan, Shiva, and all the numbers. Like this is a more in developer console. Here it won't show. Okay, here it won't show. If you wanted to see more than these values, then you have to put a debug logs on your name. You have to put a debug logs on your name. How to do that? We'll do it later, because we'll divert our whatever we are doing it. So I do not want to divert that. So whatever the values you could see here. Then after that there is a dot is there, because there is a more data available that here it won't show in this logs. Developer console logs will not show all the values. If you wanted to see all the values, then you have to put the debug log on your name. How to do that, we will see it later. For now, let's concentrate on the collection data type. So it is printing the names. And one more thing, this is not printing in order. If you see there, it's not printing. Whatever the way it is there, whatever the way that I declared, Hema, Akhil, A should come first, then H, right? But it is not doing any sorting order. There is no sorting order, either ascending or descending, it is not doing it. And if I can duplicate it also, if I have a duplicate values, right? If I have a duplicate values, if I have a duplicate values, it will not remove the duplicate values. Highlight this, execute the highlighted one. Debug. See here, it is repeating it. Hema is repeated, 27 is repeated. Basically, list collection does not care. It does not care. Whatever you give, I'll show everything. Whether it is a duplicate, I don't need to worry about the order. I don't care about the order also. Whatever the way you give, the same thing I will deliver it. Bit lazy. List is bit lazy. It doesn't do the order, or it doesn't do the duplicate verification. It doesn't do. Right? It's a lazy collection list. Now, the next point, what did I say? List itself is a collection. Let me show you the example of that. Okay. So before that, if you want to declare a decimal, how to do that? Okay, let me declare this, say what I'm doing it. Okay, you explain me what I'm doing in 74 lines. Okay. Can anybody explain what is this?
So all the decimals temp is the value printing output, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
list of decimals.
Yes, list of decimals, right. So basically it's a temperature, like I'm trying to capture all the temperature details. 37.6, 34.6, 23.6. If Hyderabad would have been 23.6 in May, then it would have been not better. What was the temperature that we were seeing? 49.5, 44.5. It's too hot, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to capture the temperature. Temperature will always be in decimal format. If I give integer here, it is going to scold me. If I give integer here, it is going to scold me saying that you said here integer, but the values you are giving in the decimal format. What should I do? Should I take just 37? It is going to scold me. So it is always better to use the decimal if you have a dot. Now this is a primitive data type. Now coming to S object. Coming to S object. How can I declare the S object in the collection? It has to start with list, and let me take my S object account. This is a account list. Same thing we will do. List of account, ACC list. Before what we were doing it, account, how we were declaring it, account, ACC, right? Account ACC. But here in the collection, I'm using the list of account, then I'm declaring a variable. And same thing. Sorry, Shravan, you have any questions? Okay. So list of contact, you will say con list. Same thing for list of, if you have a custom object like a patient underscore underscore C, patient underscore underscore C. Instead of account, you have to put your API field name of the custom object. Patient list. Patient list. These are declaration of S object data type in list. When I say list itself is a collection is nothing but list can have list of string. I can declare a list of string, list. That means list of string will be having a names. Okay, this is a collection of data. Again, this collection of data inside another collection of data. It's kind of a two boxes. I have a similar boxes. Okay, one box is full. It has all the books are there in one box, right? And I'm taking that box and again putting into the bigger box, which is a similar size. And this we use sometimes in the real time. And this is also based on few requirements. Okay, not all the times, but based on some complex requirement, we use this. Okay, this is a collection itself, like list itself, a collection. Clear so far how to do the collection data type?
Yeah.
List. Okay. So coming to, so far I have given the two homeworks, right?
Yes, two programs.
Okay. Go to the trial head. Is everybody completed the trial head of the Visual Force page?
Page is completed, yeah.
What are the quick learning Visual Force pages done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody tell me what are the points you have in the trial head? Go to the trial head, check the points and ping me the points. Okay. Others, please. I got it from Akhil. Okay. Okay. I got it from Akhil, Hema, Shravan. What about others? Shiva, Venkatesh. Okay, so this is another assignment trial head. Okay, this has Apex Basic and Database. This has a get started with the Apex, use as object, manipulate record with DML. So do these three. Okay. If you are able to understand Soccer Saucer, do this. Otherwise, leave this part. When we come to the Soccer Saucer, you will get to know that. Shiva Venkatesh, do you have a Trailhead account or you have to create it? You can ping me chat if you are not able to talk. Ping me in the chat, that should be fine. Okay then. So basically why I'm asking is we are going to track this from now onwards because this is very important. This is very important to do the trial head along with the course. Fine. Okay. Shiva, can you give me your, go to the trial head, give me what are the, how many points you have. Let me stop recording.